Welcome to Golden Stories, the place where we bring you powerful, emotional, and eye-opening stories every single day. If you enjoy what you hear, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. It was another busy morning at the airport. Travelers rushed through the terminal with rolling bags, coffee cups, and impatient sighs. But one figure stood out, Captain Amelia Johnson. Dressed sharply in her navy blue pilot uniform, gold stripes gleaming on her shoulders, she walked with quiet confidence toward the boarding gate. Amelia had worked for years to get here, through sleepless nights, exams, and endless hours in the cockpit. Today's flight was routine, yet every time she walked through the terminal, she could feel the stares. Some curious, some doubtful, and others openly hostile. As she approached the gate, a man in an expensive suit glanced at her, then chuckled to himself. Loud enough for others to hear, he said, "Look at this. She's not a pilot, probably here to clean the plane." A few passengers laughed nervously. Amelia kept walking, calm, her heels clicking against the polished floor. But the man wasn't finished. He stepped forward, blocking her path. "Excuse me, miss," he sneered. "This area's for crew members only. Where's your mop?" Gasps rippled through the crowd. Amelia's jaw tightened, but she stayed silent. Years of discipline taught her that dignity could speak louder than anger. Just then, the air hostess assigned to the flight, Clara, approached. She took one look at Amelia, then turned to the passenger with fire in her eyes. "Sir," she said firmly, "you're speaking to the captain of this flight." The man blinked in disbelief. Around them, silence fell. Amelia straightened her shoulders by waiting for what would come next. The man's smirk didn't fade. If anything, it grew sharper. He turned to the crowd, throwing his arms in the air. "Captain, you expect me to believe she's flying this aircraft? You must be joking." Whispers stirred among the passengers. Some looked shocked, others curious. A few even chuckled quietly, entertained by the scene. Amelia stood still, her posture unshaken. But Clara, the air hostess, refused to let the insult slide. She stepped closer, her voice calm but firm. "Sir, I don't joke about aviation. Captain Johnson is not only qualified, she's one of the finest pilots we have." The man scoffed, shaking his head. "Do you really expect me to trust my life and the lives of all these people to someone like her? Look at her. She doesn't belong in that cockpit." Amelia finally raised her eyes, meeting his with a steady gaze. She didn't flinch, didn't blink. Silence became her armor. Clara folded her arms and shot back. "Then perhaps you should reconsider flying today, because like it or not, she's the one taking us safely to our destination." A few passengers nodded. A woman in the back whispered, "Good for her." Another muttered, "This is embarrassing." But the man wasn't finished. He leaned closer, lowering his voice, dripping venom. "Mark my words, you'll regret this. Everyone will." Clara stepped between them, her tone now icy. "Enough. Either you board quietly or you step aside, but you will not disrespect my captain again." The crowd stirred. Some clapped softly, others exchanged uneasy glances. The tension was thick, the air heavy with unspoken battles. And Amelia? She simply adjusted her uniform, her calm silence speaking volumes. The atmosphere at the gate grew heavier by the second. The arrogant passenger's face flushed red, his pride refusing to let go. He turned sharply to the other travelers, his voice booming. "You people really trust her to fly us? Do you have any idea what's at stake? This is madness." A few murmurs rose, some skeptical, others annoyed. But then a mother holding her toddler shook her head firmly. "I trust her more than I trust your big mouth." The crowd chuckled. The man's jaw tightened, his authority slipping away. Clara, the air hostess, stepped forward again, her voice unwavering. "Sir, this airline does not tolerate discrimination. Captain Johnson earned her stripes, and she has flown more successful hours than most pilots you'll ever meet." Still, he sneered. "I'll never get on that plane. I refuse to put my life in her hands." For the first time, Amelia spoke, her voice steady, low, and commanding. "That's your choice, but know this. Planes don't care about the color of a pilot's skin. They care about skill, focus, and courage, and I have all three." The gate fell silent. Her words cut through the noise like steel. One older gentleman in a business suit began to clap. Slowly, others joined in, soft at first, then louder, until the terminal buzzed with support. Passengers who moments ago were uncertain now looked at Amelia with new respect. Clara smiled proudly, standing tall beside her captain. The man, realizing he had lost the crowd, clenched his fists in frustration. With a final glare, he hissed, "Fine, but don't expect me to thank you when something goes wrong." He stormed aside, humiliated, while Amelia and Clara walked toward the gate with dignity. The boarding call echoed through the terminal. Passengers lined up, many stealing admiring glances at Amelia as they handed over their tickets. The little girl who had watched earlier gave her a shy wave, whispering, "Good luck, Captain." Amelia's heart warmed. She tipped her hat and smiled back, replying softly, "Thank you, sweetheart. I've got this." As she walked through the jet bridge, Clara at her side, Amelia felt the weight of history pressing on her shoulders, but also the pride of proving herself once more. Inside the cockpit, she ran her hands across the controls with practiced precision. Every button, every switch was her world. The co-pilot leaned over with a grin. "Heard you had some drama outside." Amelia chuckled. "Nothing new. Let's just make this the smoothest flight they've ever had." Minutes later, the aircraft roared down the runway, lifting gracefully into the skies. Passengers who had doubted now sat quietly, reassured by the steady confidence of her voice over the intercom. And in the cabin, Clara smiled to herself. She knew this flight was more than a journey through the clouds. It was a reminder that courage, dignity, and excellence always rise above prejudice. Back in the terminal, the furious man who had refused to board sat slumped in a chair, watching the plane disappear into the horizon. No words could hide the fact that he had been left behind by his own ignorance. And that wraps up today's story. If you enjoyed this and want more daily inspiring stories, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to Golden Stories so you never miss the next one.